A tornado of anguish engulfed the Cooper family in the last episode before to young Sheldon's two-part conclusion. Not long after he and Mary were preparing to move to Houston, where George Cooper would begin his dream job as a college football coach, he passed away from a heart attack. Numerous uncertainties surrounded young Sheldon's response to George's death. His transfer to California Institute of Technology, or Caltech, and the way Georgie and Mandy would be handled in their new spin-off going into the season finale. Young Sheldon managed to cross off every item on his checklist despite covering a lot of territory in less than an hour. The widely watched two-part series conclusion funeral and memoir simply follows the Coopers in their post-George lives. Everyone is mourning differently, and the dynamics of the family are all out of whack. The young Sheldon ending demonstrates how George's passing shaped each character's unique personality in the future. Given how these characters end up in the Big Bang Theory, although there are poignant moments in the finale as it considers the lives George and Sheldon left behind, young Sheldon's trademark comedy is maintained. Although it doesn't happen right away following George's passing, the finale does occur eventually. It's a little disappointing because it doesn't show viewers Georgie's initial response to his father dying away. George's funeral arrangements are left to the family to handle with Pastor Jeff's assistance. As is customary in American culture, friends and neighbors send their condolences and deliver food, with a Rebe McEntire cameo in the role of June. In Funeral, it's evident from away that George was the family's unifying factor. Without George, there would be no one to mediate disputes amongst quarreling family members and maintain composure. George's death has left everyone mourning in their own unique ways. Georgie takes over his father's role. Missy assaults others, and Mary attends church almost daily. Sheldon tries to imagine other worlds in which he spent a happy final minute with his father. That's the only way he avoids letting sorrow overwhelm him over that final instant. He causes a wedge with Missy because, from the outside, he seems heartless and indifferent to his father's passing. Sheldon, however, never liked to share his feelings with others, which is why he was unable to compose himself to offer a eulogy at George's burial. Mary lets her sorrow get the better of her, while Georgie looks for both of his families. To Georgie and Connie's dismay, she spends every waking hour at church or praying. As she makes Sheldon and Missy be baptized in order to save their souls, things get rather hot. They both oppose the notion, obviously, unreservedly an atheist. Sheldon, Missy doesn't think a baptism will undo the harm that George's passing inflicted. To appease his mother, Sheldon does, however, get baptized. This is how Sheldon pays his mother back for everything that she gave up. In a manner, Sheldon uses it as an opportunity to express his gratitude to his father for his sacrifices. Although Sheldon was about to move to Caltech for graduate school, he was fixated on freezing his life in Texas in the two-part penultimate episode. George felt prepared, together with Mary and Missy, to go to Houston in order to take up his new position. Being averse to change and not wanting the family dynamic to change, Sheldon was the only one who opposed the proposal. Still, it's clear that George's passing threw a spanner in that scheme. There is no opposition from other family plans to Sheldon's plan to attend Caltech. Sheldon had been working toward more and better things for his whole life, and now was the moment to accomplish them. It was always the right decision to conclude young Sheldon on this note, because it sets up his existence on the Big Bang Theory, where he finds acceptance from his own circle of pals. He doesn't, however, depart without admitting that his upbringing in a Texas home influenced who he is now. Mary eventually sold the house and relocated with Missy to a new location to begin a new life. As adult Sheldon Cooper and his wife Amy Farrah Fowler, Jim Parsons and Mayim Bialik appear often in the epilogue. The future flashbacks disclose that Sheldon has been writing his book during young Sheldon, which explains why a significant portion of the narration has been wildly erratic. It's encouraging to know that Sheldon has such pleasant memories of his family and the impact they had on his life and work, despite his deceptively optimistic self-description as an emotionally sophisticated person. Beyond just writing a book, there is more to be gained from the sequences starring Jim Parsons as Sheldon. Amy always makes Sheldon get dressed for their son's hockey game, even though Sheldon doesn't want to go. Although Sheldon has never been a big sports fan, a big part of his objection may stem from the memory of his father. As their memories come to a conclusion, Amy realizes that Sheldon must accept some of Mary's compromising qualities. In the same way that Mary supported Sheldon, he must set aside his personal beliefs and wishes to stand for his son. In their final encounter together, Parsons strolls around the Cooper house one more time, reflecting on the family who helped shape him into the theoretical physicist he is today. Many were curious about how the final episode of Young Sheldon would set up the spin-off Georgie and Mandy's first marriage because it was revealed prior to the show's finale. It's odd and fitting that Young Sheldon doesn't try harder to get Georgie and Mandy to star in their own spin-off. The latter two episodes barely have a narrative involving Mandy, and Georgie is preoccupied with planning his father's burial. However, according to executive producer Steve Holland, Georgie's position in the finale will mirror the character he develops in his spin-off, which is set only 1 month after Young Sheldon. Georgie had to take care of his mother and twin siblings in addition to his own wife and daughter very rapidly. He breaks up a fight between Sheldon and Missy, haggles with a salesman over a coffin, and tells Connie that he worries about Mary's mental health. It's rather amazing that he volunteered without thinking about himself, especially given his youth. It is possible that Mary and Missy won't be regulars on the spin-off as they appear to have moved out of the residence. There's a greater likelihood that Connie and Dale will play supporting roles, and it would be amazing if they did. Thank goodness, Sheldon is the only character whose fate isn't completely sealed off in the Young Sheldon conclusion, leaving the possibility of a reunion with Georgie and Mandy in the future.